Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been with me a while. I was recently asked what pens I like to use in my Hobonichi, so I thought this would be a great chance to actually show you what I've been using. And I want to start right away with my absolute favorite, which is fountain pens. So here I have my 3 most used fountain pens at the moment. These are my Sailors in 3 different colors, 3 different models, in fact. And I really love these. I've been using fountain pens for 12 years now. Though I even used them all the way back when I was in middle school. So it's been a long love affair, I would say. And I just absolutely love using fountain pens, for a variety of reasons. I feel a lot more eco-friendly because you get to refill them. You don't really waste as much plastic, if any, depending on what kind of refill method you use. And I just love writing with them. I love the feeling of the ink flowing from the nib. It's a very I don't know, it's a lovely experience. So I always recommend fountain pens. And I just use these the most. I think I might have another one hiding in here, or maybe not. So I'll have to find some other ones for you sometime. But yeah, so let's take a look what these fountain pens might look like inside my weeks. So if you've seen my latest videos, you'll know that my Hobonichi Weeks Mega has been my main techo for this year. And so I've gotten to experiment with my different pens. And I will say that one of the reasons that I got into Hobonichi was because I had heard that the paper, the Tomoe River paper, was compatible with fountain pens. And so ultimately that was my reason for giving it a try. And now I've been using Hobonichi since 2017. So very exciting. I have a lot of years of experience that have accumulated, and yeah, I'm just really happy. And so I'm just going to show you here. This is my test page. So you got a lot of different things here. But you can see what I have in each of these. So actually right now, both of these pens, my Pro Gear and my Pro Gear Slim, are both inked with carbon black, which is this one you can see here. And I'm just going to show you the bottle too. So this is carbon ink. It's beloved by artists because it is just a great permanent ink. It's, for example, if you have an extra fine nib or even a fine nib, it's great for drawing because you could make a sketch in ink and then you could add watercolor on top, and basically it won't bleed through. So that's really nice. Just so you know, in case you do get yourself a pigment ink, do pay attention because pigment inks have their own properties, and if you leave them in a pen for too long, the ink can clog up your pen. So there are some precautions that you'll want to take. But I've been using these pigment inks for a number of years without problems. So it's just a question of maintenance, really. So carbon ink, really lovely. I will say that this year I have had some trouble with bleed through. Just going to see if I have an example here. Yeah, so here we do have a bit of bleed through. That's just been, there's some issue with the paper this year, but thankfully I think they've solved it for next year. So I am feeling very optimistic about that. So that's the only bummer. Other than that, I haven't had that many problems with this kind of ink. So, it's a question of testing it out as well and seeing how it works. Now, other fountain pen, I usually have Sailor Solboku, and this is also a lovely pigment ink. So it's permanent and it's a blue-black. I think this is, my favorite one to use every day. Though actually at the moment I have a cartridge of Sailor Seiboku because that's the one that I use when I travel so that I don't have to carry a bottle. I will just take the little cartridges, and since I ran out of Solboku, while I was traveling, I did add a cartridge of Seiboku. And yeah, I think I've just, over many years of trial and error, I've just found that it's really good to do the majority of my writing with, a permanent ink, because that way, if you have an accident, if you have like water spilling over your notebook or your journal, which I really hope never happens to you, but I think it's just nice. That way you probably won't lose everything in case, something like that happens. Some of the times that I see it happening is maybe somebody has their techo in a bag or a backpack. Maybe they had a water bottle in there as well. It spills, or maybe they spill a cup of coffee. And although it can add some character in itself to your pages, I think that kind of losing your writing would just be very stressful. So that's why I mostly use these permanent inks. Every now and then, I will also use something that is not permanent. So for example, I have this autumn oak here, which you could see here. And this is just a beautiful color for autumn. I really enjoy it. If you saw my video kind of sharing how I'm using my Hobonichi Techo in 2025, I do share one of my journals in which I write like little poems or just poetic observations. And one thing that I will do is I'll usually write, whatever I'm feeling in the moment with my permanent ink. And then I will go ahead and do edits with one of these brighter colors. So it also helps me keep track of the process, noticing how things might change. And I find that I really enjoy that. And so it's good to have these options, I would say. So I will put these aside so that I can show you my next favorite kind of pen to use. And that would be the Uniball one, which is a gel pen that I've just discovered, I think, last year. So this is more of a recent thing for me. I've been, in the last year or so, getting into gel pens, and I actually started by falling in love with the Uniball 1P. These are just very cute. I was seeing them in a lot of places, and I just really wanted to try them. So I did end up getting a few of these. And so this is also a really good pen for the Hobonichi, I found. Very nice. I do have them in different widths. So here we have the 0.5 millimeter, which is probably in one of these. And then I have the 0.38. So that's this one here. I find that for small writing, it's really good. And you can see here, this is my monthly spread, and this is what I'm using here. So I find that I could just write more comfortably in this width. And you could probably tell the difference between the platinum carbon black and the Uniball black, which is something I've noticed is that it's very, very richly pigmented. So it really stands out, especially against the cream color of the Hobonichi Weeks. So that is really nice. I've really enjoyed it. You know, even though my preference is fountain pen, every now and then I am happy to use this kind of gel pen. So you could see it here too. And, you know, I use both. Here you could see the platinum carbon black with the Solboku. Here you could see the Uniball 1. And as far as gel pens go, I've also found that there's another type that I like, and that is the Zebra Sarasa. So this is the Zebra Sarasa clip in the vintage colors. And I've just been collecting these one by one. And you can see these here too. So we got the red, we got a little bit of the caramel color. And these are just wonderful. I use them all the time, pretty much every week. And I really enjoy them. So these are lovely as well. And I'm really happy about these, you know, especially if you're worried about bleed through or if you're worried about, you know, kind of excessive ghosting. I think that these are a really good option together with the Uniball 1 or the 1P. So this is a really great choice as well. Highly recommend, especially if you like gel pens. And then finally, I just have got all of these lined up here. We do have the Hobonichi pen as well, which I've mentioned before. I don't really use as much, but actually, if you like drawing, you know, and you like ballpoints, I find that this can be nice. For example, in a pinch, I don't have the example here with me, but there was one time I kind of decided to join a life drawing session online at the last minute. And so I was drawing the model, and it was really nice to actually have 3 colors. And so I just used this in my Hobonichi to make some sketches, and it actually worked out really well. So, you know, a little bit different from my usual, but it still was pretty nice to use. And if you do like multi-pens, I know that they have them with gel as well. So that's something that I might be trying in the future. So I think that's it for today. I'm so excited to share with you my favorite pens. And I will just say also that in terms of highlighters, I have a couple of, or I have a large collection actually of mild liner pens, these highlighters. And I also use these a lot. Now, I've found so far that they worked a little bit better on the old Tomoe River paper, but even on the new one, they're okay. Just a little bit of bleed through this year. We'll see how much bleed through there is next year, but let me just see if I have an example. So this would be mild liner, just so you see. And here we have mild liner as well. I use it a lot. I use these in all my journals, and I really enjoy them. So actually haven't been using them as much in the past weeks, but here's an example, the big long to-do list. So that is it for today. I hope that you've enjoyed seeing what kind of pens I use in my Hobonichi Techo and all of my journals. And I would love to know what pens you've enjoyed. Maybe we also have some in common. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.